I'm Nikki and welcome to the Preppy Possum. Today I'm going to lead you step by step through a painting. All right, let's paint some peonies. Is that how you say it? Peonies, peony? I don't know. I speak North Carolina, so. But let's start by grabbing like a number 6 or something. Number 4 or number 6, good size drawing brush. Because I'm going to draw like my little milk glass on there first. I love milk glass. If y'all don't know what it is, it's like the old-timey white glass. And this is like my favorite style, the kind with the little bumps. But I'm going to start with like a light gray to draw it on there with. So I'm going to skip up just a smidge, and I'm going to do a little off-centered. You don't have to do it off-centered. It's just kind of the way I live my life. So I'm going to do it a little bit more to the left side. So I'm going to skip up just a smidge from the bottom, like an inch or so, and do like a droopy little line. It's just like 3 inches long or so. And then I'm just gonna like throw it diagonal and kind of bubble out on both sides. But you could do yours however. I'm just gonna kind of have it bubble. I'm gonna do the same thing over here, just have it bubble out. So that's a good start. And even though we're gonna cover this with like some flowers and stuff, I'm just gonna since we are gonna cover it, I'm just gonna let it go up into a point. But you don't have to if your flowers aren't gonna cover it. You could just make it however you wanted. And then I'm gonna grab some gray, maybe even with a little white, and fill it all in with a layer just to get some paint on there. And just kind of fill it in any which way, because we're going to come back and add more paint to it. So just to get some paint on there. All right. Cool. So we got to start on that. Now let's go ahead and wipe off our extra paint. Chunk that one in the water, and I'm going to grab a little bit bigger size brush just to try to get some layers of paint on there. So I'm going to grab like a number 8 and dry it off. Let's go ahead and throw like the start of our flowers. So I'm going to use like a baby pink, maybe even like a little bit of a salmon color. And I'm going to throw like all my flowers. So peonies, I'm going to have some big ones, and then I'm going to have the little buds that like hadn't bloomed yet. So I'm going to go big, don't be scared. I'm going to have some big blooms. So I'm going to start by doing this one. And this, like, you know how they're kind of delicate and like paper-like on the edge? So I'm just going to do some streaks just going back and forth to kind of mimic that. We'll come back and add more to it. And then just grab a bunch of that paint and kind of fill them in as you go. Just to get a layer on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do like another huge round one right here. But go big, don't be scared. And then I'm just going to grab a bunch of paint and fill that in with a layer. Then like over here I'm going to have like another, let's see, did I make that one big enough? I'm going to throw like a little bit of one coming off the top over here. It's like a little part of one. And I'm going to do that same kind of like delicate edge. So I'm just going to take my brush and go back and forth just right there to give it that look. And then we'll just fill all that in just to get some paint on there. And while I'm over here, I'm going to add my little buds. So I'm going to have like a little bud, like a little half circle right there. Then maybe like a little bud right here, which will cover up part of it, but like a little circle. Then I'm going to go ahead, let's skip over here and throw our little buds. So I'm going to throw like a little circle of pink, then like a little bit, like a half bud up here going off the top edge. I like to use a lot of the canvas. And then this is gonna kind of all run together right now. We'll make it look more like flowers later, hopefully, or that's what we're going for. But let's just, for right now, since it kind of is gonna go off the edge, we're gonna add that, and then you can even add your little feather edge right there. And then we'll just fill in that whole part. Just grab a bunch of paint and go for it. All right, so we have the start of our flowers. All right, that's a good start. So let's go ahead and wipe that one off and rinse that out in the water, because I'm probably gonna use a number 8 again. So just kind of wipe it off and rinse it out. And now I'm gonna grab, you could use like a sea foam. I'm grabbing like a little bit of a turquoise and sea foam kind of mixed together. Even a little bit of light blue, it depends on whatever color, but that's what color like my table is going to be. And I'm going to skip up just a smidge from the bottom of the vase. So I'm going to skip up on both sides. Sorry, got to lean back and make sure my line isn't too wonky. I don't want my vase sliding off my table here. Even though some of the most famous paintings did not have perfect tables. Maybe that's my problem. Make it a little crazier. And then once you get that, just grab a bunch of whatever color you want to do for your table. And we're just going to grab that and go for it just to get a layer of paint on there. Make sure you take it all the way up next to your vase. You don't want to leave like any room in between. All right, so we have our table with a layer, our tablecloth. So now let's wipe that one off and chunk it in the water, and let's grab a huge brush just to get us started. So like a 1 inch if you have it, so some big brush. And I'm gonna grab mostly like a slimy limey green with just a little bit of dark, because I want it to kind of have a vintage feel, and I love green. And I'm just gonna hit like all the big areas of the canvas. So you don't have to get up next to anything with this big brush. You're just kind of getting all the big parts, because we're just getting a start to our background. So I'm gonna try to hit like all the big areas. And don't worry if it's streaky, we'll come back and kind of thicken it up where we need to. And then if you really want to live on their wild side, which I'm gonna swap out in a second, but I can get up close to a few things with this big brush. Like if you want to get up next to your table. Got a little water in my brush there. Trying to see what else I can get up close to. I think that's probably good. I don't want to push my limits here. I might brush into the edge of my flower a little bit, because it doesn't really matter the size, because we're gonna overlap that anyway. I can go back with a big brush and hit that again. All right, so we got a start to our background. So let's wipe that one off and chunk it. And let's grab maybe like a red handle and dry it off. And let's grab, so like a number 6. And we're gonna use that same slimy limey with a little dark. I think I just got a little pink in there too. And all I'm doing right now is getting up next to everything. So I don't want to leave any canvas showing. It's all right if we're going to cover it with another color or something. Because when you're using acrylic, you can just layer because it dries so fast. So let's just go ahead and get up next to all of our flowers and our vase and our table. Like I said, we can come back and then we're gonna do the same thing over here for like the little delicate end, just kind of whip it into the edge there, just some little streaks. And then get up next to your vase. And then get up next to the, uh-oh, got a little dark pink in there. Living on the wild side. That's okay. There's gonna be some greenery up there anyway, it won't matter. Hopefully I didn't just eat away at our little bloom too much. All right, so we got us a layer through our background. So now let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And we're gonna let it dry for just a second. But now let's go ahead and grab like a number 6 again and dry it off. And let's grab some like white and light pink. And let's add some highlights to all of our flowers. So like this one right here, I'm gonna make it kind of more like round, so it's like you're looking straight on. So to do that, you wanna load your brush with a lot of paint and just kind of do like a loose spiral. So kind of think like a cinnamon bun, but not, you know, connected. But the trick is to have a lot of paint on your brush and then just be real light and loosey-goosey. So we're gonna do that big one. And then this one's kind of like a side view, like kind of leaning. So let's go ahead and we're gonna do a little bit of that same kind of motion towards the outside edge. But then when it comes this way, we're gonna kind of have a few that lean off into the background. So these can kind of overlap each other and get a little crazy because we'll come back and overlap some of them. So it's all right if you're kind of, you know, liberal with them. You want to get a little cray-cray. More is more kind of right now. And then let's go ahead and do this one. So it's really like these are 3 flowers up here. So this is gonna kind of look like a bud right here. So I'm just gonna do kind of my long streaks through it. Hopefully they'll look like 3 flowers in the end. Right now it just kind of looks like a glob. And then we'll do the same kind of thing through the ends of these. So I'm just gonna put a few like towards your paper-like edges and the same thing through this. I'm just gonna do some swipes. All right, oh, I might have gone a little too wild there. Then, while you still have the light, this might be too big of a brush, so if you want to grab a smaller, but I'm probably just gonna throw a little bit of this on here. I'm just gonna do kind of a spiral through all of my little buds. So if you wanted to grab like a number 1 or something, that'd probably work better. Or if you have something like in between a 1 and a 4. But since I had this big brush, I'm just going for it. You only live once. Okay, so we got the start of those flowers. So now let's grab a little bit of dark, because what's gonna make anything pop is darks and lights. So let's grab like some dark pink with maybe even like a Pepto Flamingo kind of pink. And we're gonna do just a few. Same kind of motion that we did with the light. We're just probably gonna do like a little bit less of this, but don't worry if you go a little cray-cray, because it's kind of like with flowers, like the more paint you put on there and kind of work with it, the easier it is. So don't let it freak you out if you get a little too crazy. But I'm just gonna skip around. So it's like you have a ton of paint on your brush and you're just being light and loosey-goosey. And then I'm gonna make sure I have some through these two. And like when you're doing these, kind of it can flare up more at the top, flare, you know, lean down more at the bottom, just to kind of follow the flow of your flower. And then I'm just gonna do the same kind of thing with these other ones that are leaned to the side. I'm gonna have just a little bit of dark through the bottom of them. Then let's add just a tiny bit of dark to our little ones. And I know this is gonna look like a little much, but we'll come back and tone it down. Since it's probably getting a little too dark. All right, so we have some darks. Now let's grab some, like a tiny bit of like a pale orange with some pink. It's like a tangerine, not really pale orange, like a peachy with some pink, and throw just a little bit of that. So probably like less of this color than any of the others. I'm gonna throw just a few hints through these big ones. Somehow I picked up some blue there. That'll be interesting, a blue flower. And then I'm throwing just a few little hints to these that are leaning to this side. All right. It's a little too perfect, but we'll work on it. That's a start. So let's go ahead and wipe that one off and chunk it in the water. And let's grab, like you could use a number 1 or a number 4. I'm probably gonna use a number 4 and some bright white. And now I'm gonna throw my little dots on there to make it look more like milk glass. So I'm gonna use the bright white and I'm just gonna start anywhere. They're like a little dot, about the size of like a pencil eraser. And then I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna do mine kind of like in a pattern. So I'm gonna do one, skip over a smidge, do another one. And you can even, if it lands on the edge, it can even hang off the edge because these are like the little bumps. And then I'm just gonna kind of alternate. Let's see, this one would probably be on the edge there. Maybe. Or I might have really wanted that one to be on the edge and it probably wasn't supposed to, but you know. So I'll just kind of start in the middle because usually that's easier to stay on track with like a pattern if you just kind of jump in the middle of it. And then once you have the ones like going down, then I'm just gonna do the ones above it. I love milk glass. So if anybody's watching this and has some and you just wanna give it away, just leave it on my doorstep. If you're cleaning out grandma's house. All right, let's see. Trying to make sure I have a couple that are on the edge, but you don't want to like throw them on there if they're not. I think that's pretty good. So then once you have that, then I'm going to grab a little bit more of the white and light gray. So you want it to be a little bit lighter than that original color, but not as white as the dots we just put on there. And we're just going to kind of fill in around it. So it's kind of like, just do like a circular motion. So you want to have mostly white with a little bit of light gray, and we're just kind of filling in around our dots. So once again, I kind of start in the middle with this and just go for it. It's going to dry darker than it goes on. So I'm kind of grabbing even more white because once I started putting it on there, then I realized that I wanted it to be even brighter. You couldn't just make it all white though, because then it wouldn't show up. But yeah, if you don't want milk glass, you can do something else. I'm just kind of giving it a vintage feel. But I'm just gonna kind of fill in all around. So I'm just going around my little dots. And the trick is to not like see the circles quite as much. So you have to come in there and kind of throw some paint once you get the circles on there, you kind of have to throw a little bit more paint to kind of draw away from, which I don't know why I'm being quite as perfect up here because I'm going to add a leaf there anyway. We got to start on that. Let's go ahead now and get us to start on our leaves. So let's wipe off our extra paint, and I would still use a number 4. So just kind of wipe off your extra, and we're going to grab some dark green. And I'm going to start like in the driest parts of my painting. So let's go ahead and make this a little bud. So I'm just going to kind of frame it in right there. All right, so we kind of have the buds framed out, have a little leaf. We'll add to it, so don't worry if it's like streaky or something. But then let's go ahead and do the same thing up here. Let's go ahead and make sure those little buds are connected. So it's just like they're gonna be coming from our flowers. All right, so we have those framed out. Now let's start adding like our other leaves. I'm probably gonna start down here because it's pretty dry down here. And I'm gonna add a couple. And whenever you're doing these, you want them a little bit thicker towards your peony, and then like peony, whatever. Y'all know how to say them. I feel like I'm paranoid now how I say like poinsettia wrong. Poinsettia. Anyways, peony. But you want it to be like a little bit thicker towards your flower, and then let it get thinner towards the end. And then I'm just gonna throw a couple leaves over here. And whenever you're doing these, load your brush with a lot of paint and then be light with it. Now let's add our little leaves up here to kind of, it'll help separate, kind of frame these flowers out. Let's throw one that's like right on the edge. So you want it to end kind of skinny. And just bring it back in there. And then I'm going to throw another one. So I'm going to kind of might grab a tiny bit of like a navy with that dark green or even a little bit of black just to get my dark green even darker. Like sometimes like just green out of the tube or whatever you're using is like not dark enough, which I mean, it doesn't help that my flowers are still wet, but you want really dark darks and really light lights. Okay, I think I just ate away at my flower too much, but that's okay. We'll come back and fix it. All right, so we got that. Now let's add us a couple little leaves that kind of make these look more like they're separated. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, let's add us a big leaf right here, kind of hanging to our jar, our vase. You wouldn't have to, it kind of looks good without it, but let's just go for it since I have it on there. All that work I did just to cover up my little milk. It's still really wet, so I can't put much paint on there. But by golly, I will try. It's hard though when paint's like really wet like this, it's hard to get like a sharp tip. I don't have the best number 4 brush either, but. All right, so that's a good start to our leaves. Let's let those dry for a sec. And let's wipe that brush off and chunk it in the water. And I'm gonna grab like an 8. So grab a pretty good size brush. And actually, if you had a flathead brush, this would probably work better. I'm just more like a round tip kind of gal. So I'm gonna use round. But if you have a flat one and you wanna do like a checkerboard pattern, I'd probably grab that one. So a flat tip. But I'm gonna use my round. I'm gonna make it work, and I'm gonna grab that same kind of color, just a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna use like a little bit more light blue than I did, and I'm gonna throw diagonals all the way across my tablecloth. So I'm just gonna do one, then I'm gonna skip over about the same amount. I'm gonna do another one. And it doesn't have to look perfect because remember, like it's a painting, so. And if you didn't want to do checkered, I mean, you could do like little dots or little tiny hearts, little flower buds, anything. I just think it looks kind of good pattern on pattern. And then we'll just keep on doing that. So all the way across, we'll have our little diagonals. Hopefully they're not too wonky. If you get them on there and they get a little crazy or more sideways on one end, you could just paint over and do it again. All right. Rock and roll. Okay, now let's go ahead and I'm just gonna go the opposite way. So I'm still gonna do diagonals, I'm just gonna go the opposite way. So I'm just gonna jump in there. Almost finished our little crosshatch thing we got going on here. Okay, and then once you have all your diagonals, then I'm actually going to grab like kind of that light blue with even a tiny bit of white. And just where they overlap, touch each other, that's where you're going to add just a little glob. So just where they overlap, you'll add your little glob. And then that'll kind of give you the impression of, what do you call it? Check. Yeah. I think that's what I'm trying to say. But you just kind of want to do it like a little glob right where they overlap. And once again, I wouldn't be like too perfect with it because it looks good to be painterly. Okay, so you have, I think we hit about all the little dabs. Close enough. So let's wipe that one off. And while we have a big brush, so like a number 8 or something like that, you can go ahead and throw like another layer through the background. So let's grab like a number 8 size brush again, and I'm gonna try this again with my background. I had a little pink in there, so I had to grab some more green. But mostly slimy with just a little bit medium. And we're just gonna kind of thicken up our background because it's okay to be a little streaky, but you don't want it to be like too thin, if that makes sense. So it's all right if you still have some streaks, but we just don't want it to look like you just didn't have the paint to put on there, which is what mine kind of looks like right now. And this is also where you can straighten out your table if your checks kind of went over the edge or something. And I think, which, like, you don't have to paint like all a certain direction. Just kind of grab it and go for it. Because especially when you're like doing a second layer like this, it's not going to matter. I think it actually looks better if you just kind of go any which way. Let me get this last corner with another layer. Almost chopped off part of my flower there. All right, so we got our background thickened up. So let's wipe that one off and chunk it. I might add just a tad more to my flowers, just a little bit more. So I'm gonna grab like a number 6 and a little bit of like white and light pink together, just because I feel like that's what we need, is a little bit more light on there. And I'm gonna go back in and just be real light and loosey-goosey, and I'm gonna do a few more. Wiggles. Then let's go ahead and do this one while that green's still drying. Just gonna throw like a little bit more light. I just don't want to pick up the green. Oh, I picked up a little green there. Okay, so we have a little bit more light through there. So now let's add a little bit of light green in through our leaves. So with the dark green, kind of both of those together. So I just want to make sure I have like a little bit of light through the leaves, because if it's just dark green, it's not going to pop out at us. So I'm throwing a little bit of light through there. And then I can just kind of come back with a dark green and kind of blend it in if it gets too crazy. All right, I'm trying to check out my leaves here, because it's going to dry a little bit darker than it goes on. And with these buds, it just kind of helps to have them, like, they pop out a little bit more if you have a little bit of light green up next to it. All right, now let's use a teeny tiny brush, and I'm gonna grab some dark blue, and you don't have to do this part if you don't want, but I'm gonna grab a teeny tiny brush. Make sure you dry it off, because tiny brushes hold a lot of water. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. And I'm just gonna do like a thin little line of blue right where the table touches the slimy green, which my green is still a little wet, so makes it a little difficult. And you'll have to keep grabbing more paint because they doesn't really hold a lot. All right. Oh, I feel like I messed it up. But you can always thin down that blue line too if it gets too thick. So I'll probably thin that up a little bit. But I'm just gonna go ahead and use that same tiny and whatever color, and I'm just gonna sign this puppy. And now we have peonies in the milk glass. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to check us out. We're on Cox Street in Asheboro. And be sure to check out our website, www.thepreppypossum.com.